Hey all, I know it's been a long time since I've been here. Life has been busy. I've been adjusting to a new job, new year, all of this stuff. Lots going on, lots of books to read, all kinds of stuff. So I guess I really just haven't had a lot of time. And also, there were some books that, it takes me a while to finish books. I don't think I really had anything to talk about. Like I talked about my favorite books of the year and things that I'd done. And I just felt like, okay, well, I haven't really finished any books since then, other than like Vivid. Oh, I didn't grab one of the books that I finished that I really wanted to talk about. Hold on. Okay. Y'all know I talked about Vivid a little bit now. That's by Ashley Bustamante. It's a series that's about magic and it kind of ended up so there's like different kinds of color magic, okay? There's like blue and red and yellow and there's another one but I'm not going to worry about that right now, but yellow is outlawed because yellow magic is mentalist magic, so they can kind of like they can make illusions, they can kind of mess with your mind a little bit and mess with your emotions, and so they were deemed dangerous. There was like a whole war that happened and whatever, and red magic is like fighty magic, I think, and but it's like strength magic and healing magic. It's what our main character girl has. And then there is blue magic, which is like defensive magic, but also I think they can like, kind of like lift stuff up and like launch it. Telekinetic, maybe a little bit. But anyway, it was really interesting. I really like the characters. Um, and I do have the second book, Radiant, from the library, which I'll show in my pile. But anyway, so that's the only book that I finished. Other than this one, I finished The Story of Reality: How the World Began, How it Ends, and Everything Important That Happens in Between by Gregory Kokel. Greg Kokel. This book, y'all need to read this. It is such a good book. It outlines all of the things that happened, the fall that God created in the world, the fall of man, what happened after that, what does faith in Jesus mean? When did Jesus come on the scene? Why did Jesus come on the scene? Why did we need Jesus? And then the future and things like that. Oh my gosh, my friends, this book was so amazing. And there was just some like really powerful things that struck me. And let me see if I can find them because like um oh, this got me. I think I was sobbing after I read this. So and exactly what is it we are trusting Christ for? Two things for the moment. First, that your sin went to Jesus' account and his goodness went to yours. Since Jesus was punished for your crimes against God, God is not angry at you anymore. Indeed, he cannot be angry since he has already poured every ounce of his anger on his son. He is emptied of his wrath. He is satisfied. This thought alone could transform your life if you let that sink in. Second, you trust that God's own life inside of you will help you day by day to live as you ought. There are a great many more things you will trust him for, but they will come later. Those two things will do for now. That like because I don't know why. I always have a feeling of like if I do something wrong, God's angry with me, or if I make a mistake, God's angry with me. I mean, I am working through I don't know, is maybe it's partially how I'm wired, partially trauma and other things. But anyway, I've been struggling, so that brought me to a lot of tears. But this book is absolutely incredible. I think any Christian needs to have it in their arsenal. Even if you're not a Christian, if you are curious, if you want to learn about the God of Christianity, check this guy out. You will learn so much. So that is my encouragement. Pick up this book, The Story of Reality by Greg Koppel. Powerful. So right now I have a bunch of books that I'm reading, bunch of library books. I actually took some library books back. I started some books and then I was just like, I'm not going to finish these. One of those was Elemental, and I also returned the second book, Firebrand. I was not interested in reading it right now, and maybe later, but not now. And then Gone. I don't remember the author of Gone, but I think it's kind of like a story of like it kind of reminds me of Left Behind, if y'all remember those stories that terrified me as a child. But it's like all of the at basically anyone 15 and up disappears, anyone 14 and down is still there. I only read like the first few chapters. It did intrigue me, but it's like a huge 500-page book, and I wasn't willing to commit to it at the time. I have other books I'd rather read, so I put it away. I took it back for another day. But this is what I'm working on. Matt. I don't know if you can even see it because it's so light, but Matched by Ali Condi. I'm almost done with it. I've had a great time with this book. I've been waiting for this to come in to the library for like ages. I don't know why it took so long. Everybody's reading this right now. I have no idea. But I actually really, really like it. It's so interesting because this is like it's dystopian and it's like the government, the society is what they're called. They're like God of this world. Like they are totally in control of the people and the people totally trust the society to make their matches, which is marriage, to and they like control like when you can have children and how many children you can have, and you all everyone once you turn 80 you die. They they like make you die because that's as long as that's like the best time for you to live, and they control everything. There's curfew, there's you know, certain people are allowed to do certain things. You don't have to get matched. You can be a single, but you still have to go by society's rules. And if you are a single, you're a single forever. You're not allowed to ever be matched. And then there's some people called aberrations, which I don't fully understand. The only aberration we're met with in this is somebody whose parent did something. Like, I think his parent was abusive, and so I guess that makes him an aberration because they said that it was his father's fault that he was an aberration. And so he's not allowed to be matched. And also, there's an even worse level than that, which is an anomaly, and that's somebody who like is a murderer. Like the only anomaly mentioned here was someone who murdered somebody. So basically, somebody who does an aberration is somebody who potentially doesn't fit in with society's rules, but they're still allowed to be in society as long as they follow the rules. But an anomaly is like unhinged and they're not allowed to be in society at all. They can't be controlled by society, so they get rid of them. Anyway, but it's just so what's interesting about this is our main character, our main character who is what is her name? Cassia, sorry. Our main character Cassia is indoctrinated in this society, and so she actually believes that this society only means good for her. Now, of course, I'm further along in the book, so she's starting to be like, wait a second, why aren't we allowed to have information, and why aren't we allowed to create? Because they're not allowed to create. So in this world, they also like eliminated most like of everything. So there's 100 songs, 100 poets, and like 100 books or something like that. Like, and that's all that there is, and that's all that there's ever going to be. And so it's curated content to pacify society and to, they got rid of anything that would have any rebellious notions or anything like that. It's all just like, keep them chill, keep them cool. Here you go, have some things, but not everything. And you're not allowed to learn to write or do art or anything of that nature. You cannot create. And so she's starting to realize that that is a part of who she is, but she's not allowed to do it. And she's terrified because she's still kind of indoctrinated in society. But anyway, this starts with her getting matched with her best friend Xander, and she's like super stoked, and she's like, yay. And then she goes and she gets like this microchip thing, even though she's, matched, she knows who he is. She wants to check out the little microchip. So she puts it in, and somebody else's face comes up on the microchip. His name is Kai. And she's like totally freaked out. And she's like, wait a second, I thought Xander was my match. Why is Kai here? And she knows Kai too. They go to the same school. And then an official comes over and says, hey, there was a weird thing that happened to your microchip. That was not accurate. Xander is your match. Kai is an aberration. He's not allowed to be matched with anybody. And that's when she finds out about that. And then basically, I mean, I knew this was going to happen. It's so cringe. But essentially, she starts having feelings for Kai and she doesn't understand why he's an aberration and why he can never be matched, and that seems really unfair, which she's not wrong, but like her whole like having feelings for him when Xander is like a solid dude, like, and somebody that she knows really well. I mean, she knows Kai too, but I don't know. I was just like, oh, I hate love triangles. I really do. I knew this would have one, but I hate it. Um, but anyway, I assume she's going to end up with Kai for whatever reason. But I am curious. The thing that's keeping me in this is I am actually curious about Kai. I actually really like Kai's character, but I also really like Xander's character because he's a bit rebellious on his own. Like, he's done things that kind of put him in trouble, or could put him in trouble if it was found out. And anyway, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting world that she's built here, and I'm curious to find out more, especially as they start dismantling the society, because I'm assuming that's going to happen because you're realizing, like, this is actually really, really bad, and humans are not supposed to live like this. Oh, I don't know. Government isn't supposed to be God. You know what I'm saying? So, really good so far. I'm actually really surprised how much I like it. and I'm definitely going to continue it. The other books are at the library. It was so annoying because all the sequels were always there, but the first one wasn't. So I was like, how am I going to read this book ever? But anyway, I am really enjoying this, and I will continue it, and I will let you know my thoughts when I'm done with it. Other library books I have right now, The Archived by Victoria Schwab. This I saw on Goodreads and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I saw it at my library and I was like, this I must read. So I'm going to be reading this. Let me give you a little info. Imagine a place where the dead rest on shelves like books. Each body has a story to tell, a life seen in pictures that only librarians can read. The dead are called histories, and the vast realm in which they rest is the archive. I feel like that's all you need to know. It just sounds interesting. I'm intrigued. I'm gonna check it out. If it's like too weird, I will probably not finish it. But I think it's a little standalone, so I just want to check it out. I love a little spooky, not scary, but spooky. And then, of course, as I said, I have Radiant because I finished Vivid, and I do want to continue. This is really thin, though. This is really thin, but I do want to continue it. I'm really intrigued by it and the world, and I'm hoping it continues to be more interesting because I still have questions from the first book, and I'd like for it to continue to be more interesting. Um, but we'll see what happens. And then I also, this hasn't been, this is the first time I saw this at the library too, was Rogue Heart, which is the companion to Rebel Soul. It's a duology. I read Rebel Soul last year. I liked it. I didn't like the language in it. There was a lot of language, but so inevitably this one will probably have a lot of language, but that's okay. I'm going to enjoy it anyway and finish the duology. I think, I mean, if I DNF, whatever, I have no problem DNFing. I've DNF'd a couple of books already this year. Keep it up, keep it going. But if I like it, cool. I do like the way Axio writes. So, and then other current reads that nonfiction reads. I am reading St. Francis of Assisi by G.K. Chesterton. Literally just started it, but it is really interesting so far. So far, he's pretty much just talked about how other writers have not focused on St. Francis in the way that he wants to focus on both his religious side and his more like unique personality side, whereas secular journalists have been more focused on how he had this like gregarious and unique personality full of love and heart, but they didn't want to focus on his more religious things. He was literally a monk. Like, of course, he's going to be very religious and he's going to do things that maybe you're not going to understand, like fasting or, I don't know because I'm literally just started reading this. But anyway, G.K. Chesterton was like, I'm going to try and bring forth as best I can his character in fullness instead of like being like, oh, I'm uncomfortable with a person who fasts and why would they do that. And then the next chapter spoke about the world that St. Francis kind of came into, that it was a world where there was a lot of paganism ongoing, but then people were realizing, because it was coming out of the dark age into the medieval era, and how they were realizing that pagan traditions were actually extremely detrimental, that doing whatever you want is actually really bad for us and we shouldn't do that. And so a lot of people converted to Christianity during that time. And that is the time when St. Francis of Assisi was he was living. So it was really interesting to get that build up. G.K. Chesterton's writing reminds me a lot of C.S. Lewis's. So the vibes are great. I'm really excited. I've always wanted to read from him. So it's going to be great. I'm excited. And then also, I am reading People Pleaser by Ginger Duggar Wallow. I got this for Christmas. And this is one of my 26 and 26. So St. Francis, actually. And yeah, so far it's been really good. I've cried a couple of times. I cried at this one. Let's see if I can find it. It was just in the past chapter. So let me see. Because it's a solid book. If you struggle with people pleasing, friend, and I think we all do in some respect struggle with it, but some more than others, and I definitely struggle a lot. Anyway, so it says, um, I want you to encourage you in this. You're a survivor. It's likely why you've been trying to please others all these years. Maybe it was to keep you safe from someone's anger and abuse. Maybe it was to hang on to the job you desperately needed to support you and your baby. Maybe it was an attempt to find your place socially at school or church. Maybe it was to try and manage the volatile emotions of an extended family member. my point is, I don't think you and I have been people pleasing just to try to be the most popular kid on the block. We learned somewhere along the way that during hard and unpredictable and scary times, the one thing we could try to do was make everyone happy. Because if we could make everyone happy, maybe just maybe we could keep bad things from happening. And I feel like that is massively why I struggle with this. Towards people, but also I often find myself falling into legalistic behaviors towards God because I'm like, okay, well, if I am perfectly like this, or I do everything like this, or I, have this time, and and I make sure I'm doing this, then God will be happy with me and I will be okay. But like, I am okay because I am in Christ. Like, His goodness covers me. Literally, the story of reality. I just read it. His goodness. He gave me His goodness. He took away my sin. He lives in me. I'm okay. But I think, just struggling again, things that I'm working on. Um, but it is very challenging for me to give myself grace at all and to think, anyway, drama. But it was really powerful for me to read that, to not feel guilty, because so often I do. So anyway, those are some great books. We are starting off the year strong, and I'm having a really good time. And also, on top of all of that, I'm also working on my next book. I don't really know when it's going to be published. I wanted to do it earlier this year, but I'm praying about it and just trying to make sure that it is, God's timing, not mine. And so, but I will give you a sneak peek because this is my editing copy. It's called The Age of the Astani, Dawn of Invaris 1. And of course, my name at the bottom there. I love this cover, y'all. I just think it looks really pretty. I think this looks way better than my other ones. I think I've hit my stride. This is going to be part of a duology, The Age of the Astani, and then The Age of the Narzenzi would be the next one, and I can't wait for you to see what the cover of that one's going to look like. I worked really hard to make them look nice. And this gold is going to be darkened to look more like this gold. I made it too bright, but anyway, so this is more of a romantasy. If you are like, ooh, epic fantasy is not really me, sci-fi fantasy is not really me. Well, this is a romantasy. And it's purely fantasy, but it is romantasy. So it focuses on one of the princesses of the Astani, the youngest one. Her name is Catania. And Catania, it starts out with her as a child and her meeting the prince of the Narzenzi at the time. His name is Koyos. And they're just how they became really fast friends and then kind of had little kid crushes on each other, and then they kind of get separated because their families are like, no, 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 this is not how this works. Astani and Narzenzi are not together. But then there is a prophecy that is given to Catania's older brother, who is a chronicler for the Astani people, and the prophecy is that a Narzenzi and an Astani will come together and they will have a child, and that child will be a great servant of the one who is, the God character. Um, and so the older brother realizes that they've made a huge mistake in separating them, and that they need to be able to be with each other, or grow with each other, and once they get older, get married. Like, clearly that's how he sees it's going to happen. Now, of course, Catania and Koyos are not named in this prophecy, but it's the assumption that's going on. Okay, there's also other drama going on. There's a lot of family drama in here. I love family drama. And the Ostani family is quite large, so there's a lot of family drama going on there. There's also other things happening. Not only that prophecy, though that is part of it, there's also a curse. There's also, because of laws being broken, it depicts the rise and the fall, if you will. Okay. So it's a big book. I think it's currently like somewhere around 400. Yep, 401, as a matter of fact. It might be a little bit longer than that because I've had to edit it and add some things and subtract some things. I don't really know where it's going to end in the end. But because I'm still working on it, I was planning it to be in like March, but I think it's going to be probably later. Anyway, I'm going to be praying about it and see when the best time. But I'm really enjoying writing this, and the companion book to it is probably even more my favorite, to be honest. I really love The Age of the Narzenzi, but this one's really fun. This one, I've never written a romantasy, and it mainly focuses on Catania's point of view. However, there are a couple other viewpoints just things that she couldn't have been involved in, so I need somebody else's viewpoint, but really it mostly is hers. Um, but yeah, it's a good, I think I've had fun writing it anyway. So hopefully you will also enjoy it whenever it comes out. I'll talk more about it later, but um, anyway, so that is that. Those are the things, the bookish things happening in my life right now. Um, how is the new year treating you? Have you finished any books? Have you been excited about any books? I actually have no idea what's coming out this year, book wise. If it's not like Susan Collins, I usually don't really care. At least for like secular books. If it's, I mean, I keep my eyes open for Christian books, but usually I don't find out about that till way later either. So like, whatever. And I don't really need any more books as it is. I am currently going through my shelves to read the books that I have so I can figure out what ones I want to get rid of. But I'm also bogging myself down with library books. So slowing down my progress a little bit. That's okay though. That's okay. It's still good. So anyway, what books are you reading? Is there anything you're looking forward to? Um, yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you have a great day. Remember that I love you, but Jesus loves you way more. He loves you so much. And I hope you have a good day. All right. Bye.